يعطيكم العافية أعزائي الطلاب. راح نشرح اليوم فعالية دفع الجلة بطريقة الدوران. المرحلة الأولى من خطوات الأداء اللي هو بنحكي الوضع التمهيدي، وبيشمل وقفة الاستعداد ومسك الجلة. مسك الجلة وحملها حكينا عنه في المحاضرة الماضية اللي بشرح فعالية دفع الجلة بطريقة الزحلقة أو الزحف. وبس بنأكد على معلومتين، إنه الجلة بتكون مسنودة على الأصابع مش على راحة الإيد، هي النقطة الأولى. واثنين، موقعها بيكون أسفل الذقن بحيث بتشكل الذراع زاوية قائمة. وفي ملاحظة مهمة، إنه من حد ما أبلش الأداء للجزء دفع الجلة بتظلها الجلة مسنودة تحت الفك. بالنسبة لوقفة الاستعداد نفس اللي حكينا بالفعالية الماضية، تمام، مع التركيز إنه المسافة بين الرجلين في وقفة الاستعداد يعني بتكون بعض الأكتاف، وبعض الدراسات بتحكي لك من 50 ل65، بس هي بترجع لراحة اللاعب أو الطالب.
The Olympic record.
Krauser then confirmed victory with a personal best, establishing a new Olympic record in the process.
And this is me, Jordan Young, with a personal best of 20.06 meters, that's 65.8 feet. I can confidently say that I do not have the most efficient technique in the world. So over the past few months, in an attempt to develop more efficient technique, I've been trying to mimic some of the things that Ryan Krauser does. And lately I've been feeling some really good things that are helping me to understand Ryan's technique better. So in this video I want to point out some things that Ryan does amazingly well that makes his technique so efficient, but also some new things that I'm starting to learn in the circle that are starting to make more sense as I get closer to Ryan's technique. Next thing that I want to talk about is how patient Ryan is out of the back. As he winds up, he sets up the ball over top of his right hip. And this is an important position to remember, because once he leaves this position, he stays so long and patient until his right hip gets back underneath the ball. So the first movement from here is to open up the left side and the left arm by keeping those on a long rotational path. And as he's doing that, he's setting up a rotational axis over his left leg, and he just patiently waits on that vertical axis until his right hip comes all the way around. And once that's underneath the shot put, he starts to push towards the middle of the circle. And once he lands in the middle, he's wrapped up with the ball over top of his right hip again, just like how it was out of the back. And when I start to look at his throw this way, it really reminds me of a glider, only traveling across the circle. And ideally, you're landing on that line with your feet, and that will help your feet land open so you're not blocked off, and is a great way to visualize how you need to travel across the circle and where your feet need to be. And by taking chalk, you can literally draw in the circle if you need to, and give yourself a physical line that you're trying to land on so you can start to drill it and find consistency in landing in good foot positions. The second position that I want to cover is the backwards 3. And for myself, since I'm left-handed, it would be a regular 3. But the concept of this, unlike the 7, which kind of represents more your center of mass traveling through the ring and showing where your feet want to land, the 3 concept shows how you want your feet to move and how they should be rotating around each axis. So as you set up your axis over your pivot foot out of the back, now your sweep leg starts to draw the top of the 3 as you rotate to the middle, and you're still getting down on the same line as the 7. And then now once you've set up that axis in the middle, your other leg comes around to finish off the bottom of the 3, again landing on that same foot position as the 7. So both of them.
And that last piece is push. And it's those four movements that make up the full throw. Although this seems complicated, it's not as hard as you might think. You're simply just stepping a couple times through the circle, and as you get good at those steps, you move them faster, and you move them faster, and then before you know it, you're doing the full spin. The second concept you need to understand to do the full rotation is that throughout the rotation, we have a deep bend in our knees are wide, our hips are under us, and our shoulders are level. Just like in the front of the circle, we're in this large loaded position. So our knees are apart, our hips is engaged, we're ready to push this ball. We want to have a long loaded position. So our knees apart, hips under us, and level shoulders. So you can see here I have this exaggerated space to my knees. My hips are rolled out, shoulders are level. So we're in this strong upright position this whole time through the circle. So again, notice that wide knees, hips are under me, shoulders are level. So you can see every part of the throw had that strong position. That concept is what keeps us on balance, allows us to move through the circle, and then ultimately allows us to push the shot put at the end. And then the third concept to understand to do the full rotation is the ability to turn on your feet. So turning on your feet is foundational to any type of rotational movement. We got to be on the ball of our foot. Our ankle, and knee, and hips have to be strong and rigid. So when this is strong, and this is strong, and this is strong, and we're on the ball of our foot, then it's easy to turn on our foot. That's what we want to see. It's really easy. A lot of people, their foot stays flat and it doesn't turn, and then it's really hard to do this. You really can't. So you can see when the foot is stuck on the ground, nothing moves and our hips collapse underneath us. That's the same in the back of the ring. It's the same in the middle of the ring. If our foot doesn't turn in the middle of the ring, we end up pulling with our shoulders. So right here in a half turn position, you can see my heel is up, my weight's on top of that foot, and that ankle, knee, and hip are really strong. And when they are really strong, the foot turns really well. See how that turned all in one unit? Then the last piece of this is when that left foot lands in the front, that foot continues to turn, and that's what creates that push at the end of the throw. So if you're in this good posture position, knees bent, hips under us, shoulders level, and you have the ankle, knee, and hip really tight and strong, then it's very easy to turn. Looks something like this. You can see that leg stays strong as I make that turn. Boom, boom. Getting good at the rotation comes from balance, comes from posture, comes from strength in your hips and in your feet and in your ankles, and it comes from repetitions. And so when you say you're working out of the back of the circle, and the first rotation is pretty hard to do, and you're having trouble getting around that left, then that's where you practice with the one step. You wind up, you step out, and you can do that step, and then you can again finish the rest of the throw. And you can do that for any part of the thing. So there is no magic recipe. Here's the special drill to do, is you breaking the full spin into these four pieces so that you can feel each part, so that you can make sure that you're in the right positions, because positions create distance. When you are in the right position, the throw becomes a reaction, and that reaction produces monster throws and good feeling. So the whole point here is use these four pieces as a guide to help you get better. So, do lots of stand throws, do lots of half turns, which would be this part. Do lots of South Africans, which would be this part. And then as you get better, do lots of step outs. Step out, South African. And then when you get to it, do a bunch of full turns. And try over and over and over again. And remember, it isn't some special drill to make you do that. What makes you learn this well is keeping your feet strong and your ankles strong and your knees strong. Keeping your hips under you. Those are the pieces that allow someone to spin. So if you do that, I promise you,